Commence primary ignition.
I'm just not the hero type, clearly.
What a piece of junk.
Enterprise, this is the captain.
I got a bad feeling about this.
It's all part of the plan.
Engage.
Welcome back to Podcast 2 for 1. I'm your host, Donovan Thompson, with my co-host,
Daniel Wingfield.
and today we are talking The Mandalorian, chapter
14 and 13.
and 12.
And 12.
And 12.
Yeah.
9, 10, 11, so we're doing 12, 13, 14.
Yeah,
If you haven't already, go back and watch our previous episode recount we did with Matt Mitchell.
Yes.
And if you haven't, of course, watch all these episodes because there are spoilers.
Yes. And before we get into our discussions and thoughts on the new 3 episodes, we do need to address some corrections from the previous episode brought to you by our number one fan, Joel Williams. Thank you, Joel.
Hey,
I appreciate the money you sent us every month. Take notes,
it's a
other
lot.
fans. So, Joel writes in, "What up, Fandalorians?" He says that to us, and I like it. As always, I'm here to answer all things Star Wars and Mando. Let's get to it. How did Boba Fett survive the Sarlacc? So this is how it happened in the Legends anyway. Of course, we all know the Legends were what Lucasfilm did before they were bought by Disney. Disney bought them and said, well, we might use some of this, we might not. Let's just call it Legends.
Disney.
So, in Dark Empire, this is a Legends book, I believe, fans first found out that Boba Fett survived the Sarlacc, though they wouldn't learn how until years later. In 1995, Bantam Spectra released the anthology Tales from Jabba's Palace. The book included a short story titled A Barv Like That, The Tale of Boba Fett by J.D. Montgomery, a pseudonym of Daniel Keyes Moran. Interesting. The tale recounts Boba Fett's time within the Sarlacc, in which he wakes up. He actually makes a telepathic connection with the Suseho, one of the Sarlacc's earliest victims. I guess the Suseho's an alien race. I'm not quite sure. But basically, he uses his jetpack to trigger an explosion, which causes the blast to launch Boba Fett from the Sarlac Pit, and he uses concussions grenades as well to blow a hole in it. And Boba Fett leaves, becoming the first person that we know of to escape a Sarlac Pit. Couple more things. Boba Fett would have died if the bounty hunter Dengar hadn't found him in the desert. Dengar is in the original movies. He's the
one of the bar guys.
No, he's actually Dengar. Actually, you know what? I'm pretty sure he was one of the characters that was a DLC character in the Star Wars Battlefront 2015.
I've seen him. I've seen him.
He's the guy that basically looked like a mummy.
Yeah.
And then they cut a hole out for his face, but he's still got the mummy shit on top. He looks like, looking at him now, you're like, what the fuck?
I saw a thing on the internet earlier about him, actually.
So apparently Dengar helped Boba Fett.
Back to that book call out. I almost bought that book because I almost did a Max Rebo fan film, and we were going to do research, and Tales of Tatooine was or Tales of Jabba's Palace would be.
No, it's one I've heard of. Yeah,
I almost bought it.
A famous kind of anthology.
Wouldn't it be a Max Rebo fan film? It's awesome.
That would be awesome.
It's basically Detroit Rock City meets Star Wars, and if that is, it's a kids road pot movie. And it was these kids going to try to see the Max Rebo band at Tatooine.
Oh, awesome!
And they end up passing Luke as Luke's walking in the it takes place
right.
Anyway, that was our fan
100%.
film. Never happened, of course.
Yeah, I love the concept though. Last things from Joel: Boba Fett went on to live a new life after the Sarlacc. He continued as a bounty hunter and later had a family. He even fought alongside Han Solo, and later trained Han and Leia's daughter, Jaina, which I am very confused about because I've read most of the Young Jedi books with Jason and Jaina, and I don't remember. That must...
You've kind of mentioned to me that they had this rivalry, right?
No, they were very close. They're, as children, they were very close.
I'm talking about Bubba and Han.
Oh, yes. That's what I recall. Maybe either maybe that happens within this before they fight alongside each other. I wonder when did Han and Boba
So it seems like they're kind of making him more of a
fight together,
an anti-hero in the extended canon, the Legacy, the Legends editions.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. They fought together during the Yuz-Hun Vong Wars, the New Jedi Order. So that makes sense because that was like a threat to the entire galaxy.
Gotcha.
They had to team up because
Gotcha.
they were going to both get killed. Anyway, Joel, thank you so much
Yeah.
for the feedback, as well as I do want to include his last comment. He says, "Of course, this is all from the Legends, but I do agree that it looks like they're picking some gems from this treasure trove of content. Personally, I'd love an appearance from Kier Kanos, the ex-Crimson Guard turned bounty hunter from Crimson Empire. Love the show and keep it up, fandos. This is the way." And you're right, Joel, this is the way. I wanted to just make sure.
I guess the episode's done,
This
though.
is the way. It is. Oh, yeah, shit. Fuck. Yeah.
We need to have Joel like zoom in on it.
We do, yeah.
You know, we have that ability.
Yeah.
we can do that.
We do that. We have the power.
Joe, I'm going to reach
We
out soon
have
to you,
the technology.
and we'll talk.
I love the call out of the Crimson Guard.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't know anything about that. It sounds interesting.
Well, they were the Crimson Guard were the Emperor's
Yeah, I
personal
know who they
guard.
are,
Yeah.
but I mean, like in the context of that character he was talking about.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean that's kind of talking about the previous episode where we were talking about Bubba, and of course we're fixing to dive into some Bubba Vet stuff here in a minute.
Yeah, that's great context for what's coming.
Yeah,
up.
it is. Okay, so let's start right here real quick. So episode 12.
Yes.
Um,
We're right off of him encountering Bo-Katan
yes.
and the other Mandalorians.
Yeah, and he has to go get his ship fixed.
Well, I mean, he's directly on his way to Ryloth,
Ryloth.
Tython. Ryloth's a different planet in Star Wars, but I can't remember where it's.
He's not going to
It may be
Tython
from
yet.
a video game. No, but doesn't he just kind of crash land on the planet? Or is he intentionally going there? I think maybe I just couldn't tell if this was convenience or if he like.
Man, I'm trying to think of. We're jumbling together here with some of the episodes to me. I know
I remember the episode opens on that wide shot of a planet, the classic coming up over a planet, and then
it comes
whatever. Yeah, it's like comes like bumbling.
Didn't you
through.
mention that last episode though? Didn't you say it played on expectations in Star Wars, or was that in our group text message? See, I'm getting all of our podcasts and our personal lives mixed together.
I know. Exactly.
Anyway, but I know he does come in on a broken ship because that's when the guys start fixing it because Carl Weathers, who directed this episode, is saying, guys, fix this ship, blah, blah, blah. Where's the baby at? So there's this affinity for the baby.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's got to be that he was intentionally going there.
Yeah, it has to be.
Because he knew they would fix it.
Of course, Cara Dune is there as well. And
she's I don't know.
It's a reunion
I
episode.
feel like every time I see her, I less believe she's really in Star Wars. I don't know.
I'm not. I know our friend Travis, who's been on the show.
Yes.
He really likes Cara Dune, and there's some other people that I'm friends with on Facebook that whenever she's on an episode, they really like her and her performance. And I'm just never been a fan.
I think it's just her delivery. Like it always sounds like she's trying to be that cool character.
Yeah, and
that one, the one, that cool character that says the quips and the
and this may sound dumb and maybe like it happens in every Star Wars or cartoon stuff ever.
Sure.
I feel like every time we see her, she's wearing the exact same thing. And,
she has not changed. I mean, maybe her hairstyle.
but so
changed.
has of course Mando. I mean, other than his armor change and Baby Yoda and Luke, all these people look the same.
That's true.
But in cartoons, people look the same in every episode. But just something about maybe it's just the way she looks, and then it's just always the same. And I feel like she's just always the same character, and she doesn't really have.
Yeah, she's pretty one note.
Yeah, I don't know.
And she's just, I don't know. She's just kind of like, well, let's go blow it up. I just feel like
let's do it.
I just feel like that's what she could constantly say, and nothing would change about her character. All right, let's go blow it up. Like that's the only line she ever has, and she repeats it.
And of course, there was some character stuff with her about. Towards the end of the episode, of course, with the Republic, the New Republic,
and it was kind of odd that whole.
It was weird.
I don't know. Well, we can get to that scene, but that felt like I don't believe she would do that.
I don't either. Yeah, based on everything that's happened,
and especially what happens in the latest episode, it's still like this doesn't feel natural.
It also is. We'll get there.
Okay.
But the whole episode basically is, hey Mando, while we're fixing your ship, why don't you help us take out some of this old Empire?
Well, let's
stuff?
just take out the base that they were fucking with. They had to fuck with last time, right?
Yeah.
Let's just blow it up to get them out of there.
Yeah, like let's just clean house. And
right,
granted, I think it's a fun episode, and we'll get to more in a second. But it was just like Mando just can't catch a fucking break.
It felt like it felt like filler. It did. I mean, it felt like yeah, okay, his ship's broken. I get it. And then especially, you know, when we get to kind of what the reveal was this episode, I guess it felt like, okay, this is kind of cool. I guess it's kind of worth it.
I mean, it definitely sparked conversation.
Lore-wise.
100%.
And just kind of opening up, I feel like, some mysteries that I'm still trying to figure out in terms of what things are doing and happening for. But beyond that, and I'll say some pretty badass, like, cinematic action.
Yeah. Oh, and the guy from episode 1 come back. The first bounty, which
the doctor guy.
I liked him.
Oh no, the blue guy.
I liked him.
He was some good comedic relief.
I liked him better this
that.
time, but he also kind of feels out of Star Wars to me.
I don't know. I like him. He was really good for me.
He was. I think again, this is the best he's been in. Even though they're kind of horrible people, it's like
Carl Weathers is a dick.
He's a slave. I mean, he's just straight up like.
I mean, yeah. I guess he stole millions of credits. So, I mean, it's outer rim justice, bitch.
I guess
this ain't the new fucking republic. You know what I mean?
Here was like 5 jokes. It's
it was the Empire.
Hey,
you get your
blue guy, go do this thing, and he's like, I don't want to do it. And they're like, if you want to live or not be in hell forever.
No, he's like, I'll knock off 10 years of your like 200-year sentence.
Yeah, but still, he's like, well, I guess I'll do it. Oh man, and that's like 5 jokes in the whole episode.
Yeah, but they all, for some reason, they all kind of work for me. Or most of them. They didn't feel repetitive, I guess.
All right. Anyway, so the episode, I think the big standout here, other than the reveals we'll get to in a second, was the action. Carl Weathers with the speeder bikes and the stormtroopers.
Yeah, the shot that I especially feel that was just, I was like, whoa, was, you know, at the end when they're getting chased by the Empire and the speeder bikes. Which I fucking love speeder bikes. And it just reminded me again, why aren't swoop gangs back heavily in Star Wars lore? Because they were huge in the legends. Like, remember Luke Skywalker on Tatooine, like taking out this giant swoop gang that came, like, and they were like, you know, because they're basically like biker gangs. Yeah. But it's like the Star Wars biker gang. So it's like these aliens with like ridiculous like piercings and like these crazy looks to them, and they're like all brutal and like just savage things. And like, but then they how they fight is on swoop bikes. And they have swoop bikes fitted with guns and like ridiculous bullshit, like, you know, like like boosters and like, you know, like octane fucking whatever. Anyway, speeder bikes are cool. But yeah, when they went over that cliff and the camera just kind of followed them down.
In my head, I was like, they're driving. He's like, quick, flip on the octane fucking whatever. Anyway,
yeah, sorry. Right. So the 2 parts about the speeder bike moment was just that move where they go down the cliff and one kind of bounces and like it just looks so good.
One guy completely doesn't make it.
No, that's great too. But the other thing I loved was a total callback to the Return of the Jedi. There was a shot and it's just like an insert of just a foot and it just does that on the pedal. Oh, and it's like exactly a shot that they use on Endor of like, ching, doo, like it was like, oh, that is a replica of that.
Right.
That was, I just love that too. But anyway, yes, the action was great.
Yeah, it was cool seeing, you know, Mando do his maneuvering and the. I guess at this point the Razor Crest has been repaired, right?
No, it's
what does he fly?
Oh, that's at the very, very end.
Yeah.
No, that's how they get out.
That's really the whole episode is just them chasing and shooting and
infiltrating. Really, a lot of the episode is infiltrating the base, and then once they find, so basically, right, they find failed Snokes, basically,
and that's what we think it is. Of course, one looks like kind of like a failed Snoke clone. Another thing looks like. You hear the Snoke theme actually underneath.
I mean, it looked like it was in those tubes. I mean, it looked like directly like a Snoke clone.
Yeah, I think
if it wasn't, it would be like that was intentionally deceitful.
Yeah.
In that way,
which is to me says that Disney is doubling down on sequel trilogy.
But here's the thing. So, and this is something we talked about in our text with Travis as well, and I think we kind of all felt a little bit differently on was. So they play that message, right? They play the message of the scientist that we know from the beginning, like the first 3 episodes of The Mandalorian, season 1.
The glasses and the beard.
Yeah. Who actually was never painted as like a horrible. He seemed like he actually cared about Baby Yoda not dying.
Yeah, he does.
At the very least.
Yeah. You're right.
But so he's reporting about tests with a host and a donor, and those seem to be 2 different things, and that they don't have enough. They don't have any more blood from the donor, and that seems to be indicating Baby Yoda. and that they need more to continue, etc. And basically, what we were kind of trying to figure out is what exactly are they using Baby Yoda's blood for? And to me, what it seems like, and I'm hopeful it's, and you're probably right, they probably are doubling down on this, and probably in this way, is it seems like they're using the Baby Yoda blood for the Palpatine clone experiments and trying to get Snoke to work, maybe even like trying to even get a functional Snoke, and they're using Baby Yoda blood, Grogu blood.
Grogu.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some debate on our thread that maybe they were talking about a different donor. I think he's just talking about Grogu.
Well, at one point too, we were thinking it was going to be the Dark Troopers. It was going to be for like force power,
and that's because that scene happens, and then the very last scene of that episode is he's like that. Basically, they don't know what's coming.
Well, no, because she's like, "Did you install the tracker on the Razor Crest?" And she's like, "Our contact confirmed that Baby Yoda is there," and it was totally that like weird alien that looks suspicious from the beginning. Like they telegraphed it. But and fine, it was fine.
Yeah. No, but I think, of course, they're doubling down on the sequel trilogy.
Probably,
I think it's almost kind of like how Clone Wars helped the prequel trilogy. This is Filoni and Favreau and them saying, "Hey, we could probably insert a few things here and maybe kind of but kind of give more context to."
But at the same time, because of the Darksaber, and we saw that even more in this most recent episode, like that feels like it all has to connect to Mandalore too somehow.
No, I think that part of me says that there's no way that someone sat there and said in the writing room, like, "Oh, the whole reason why Moff Gideon wants Grogu is because we're trying to make Palpatine clones." I feel like I would just
be like,
yeah, I feel I don't.
It would honestly make me like the Mandalorian less. Do you hear that, Disney?
Yeah,
I would like the show. I love it, and I would like it a little less if I was like, oh great, this is just the exposition.
Yeah, and granted,
and we already know what ends up happening, so there's no mystery anymore, basically.
Yeah, and I think that
they either get enough Grogu's blood or someone else's.
I think that's like a small piece of the puzzle.
I hope that was just like a pass by, like, oh, here's a nod to the timeline, but we're doing our own thing.
Moff Gideon, he is a part of the Empire, so you would think that.
Yeah, and he wears that silly. I mean, he has an outfit that looks just like the red lights on his
from Vader.
Just
yeah,
like Vader.
But and he's a Moff. I guess there's Moffs. There's different Moffs, from what I understand, like different sectors, and they're called Moff something. Yeah,
I don't. It's a high rank.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because there's also Grand Admirals.
Yeah. Is it Moff Tarkin? Is that his name?
Or he was Grand Moff Tarkin. It was Grand Moff Tarkin.
He's high up there.
So I guess, yeah.
A little higher than Gideon. But I think it's a small step on the road. Of course, it sent us into a blaze, wondering is this what the true meaning is?
Yeah.
It almost feels like, here's two things. From what we understand, just the little supplementary material that we got from the Rise of Skywalker period,
right,
was that, they were making clone bodies or we think that maybe the bodies need to have the ability to hold Palpatine's power.
Right.
And there's failed clones. So Snoke is a clone that got pretty close, but obviously not there. Palpatine, Papa Palps, I like to call him. He had a kid that ended up being Rey's father.
Yeah.
And he had no force abilities, which is another thing. It starts kind of making
how does walking down things that we don't like.
Yeah.
And we have very sore pain from.
Well, also I always ask myself,
we're sensitive.
I know midichlorians, because he says he has a high M count. He said that in the episode, which is of course midichlorians.
Gotta be.
You think okay, so how does this work? Is the Force this thing that can basically, it moves through all living things and kind of shapes the galaxy in a certain way, or is it this thing where you do need these biological receptors to kind of help you move the Force? And then it's also kind of well, that means you need a body that is that has a high M count so it can hold the Force into you.
If they're doing that, they're retconning, and in a way that I think sucks. But originally, I'm pretty sure this is a Legends thing, though they may actually address it in the prequels. I don't want to hang my hat on that though. That midichlorians were not the source of Force sensitivity; they were just an indicator of it. They're like, oh, well, this is just. If you have super high midichlorian count, it's 99% likely you're a Force user, and maybe have high force sensitivity and ability.
Yeah, I mean,
So
so we know in the prequels, it's like, oh, Anakin has his M count is higher than Master Yoda's.
Even higher than Yoda's, right? But that was only supposed to indicate the ability to use the Force in powerful ways. Not that you just could, take that and put it in a, anything else, and that person now has those abilities too.
Yeah.
Because if it becomes that, then it's just like, oh well, anybody can be.
Anybody.
Jedi.
See, I mean,
You just need like a short blood transfusion, and okay.
Yeah,
Then it's boring.
Yeah, I kind of thought almost like the way this kind of described it was that there's the Force, and then there's this like almost like it's a key. The midichlorians and the midichlorians are like basically mystical in the way that they biological and mystical, they attach to the Force.
Yeah.
So if you have midichlorians in you, then you can access the Force, kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, well, the whole concept of the Force is this weird blend of technology and mysticism, right?
Yeah.
Like that, it is magic. It's magic in the truest sense of what magic is, but it doesn't feel like magic. It feels like something more advanced almost.
Filoni came out recently and talked about the Force, and he didn't talk about it more in scientific. He talked about it more about balance and kind of what it means overall, the things that we always talk about.
Yeah.
Anyway, it obviously brings up discussion, and I don't know how much more we can stay on it other than it feels like they're either a nod or that is the true reason why Moff Gideon wants him.
Yeah.
I feel like Moff Gideon is not someone
who
works for somebody.
Well, honestly, I'm not going to spoil it completely, but based on the most previous episode, it seems to be
spoil it. I mean, we're here.
Well, what I'm saying is like based on the most, just even that one line of dialogue at the end of the most previous episode, it seems like this is connected to the deeper plot of the show. And it's whatever they are doing with that whole thing, and we're gonna find out clearly what it is.
Yeah,
I would assume in these last two episodes.
Yeah. One cool nod.
Yeah.
Whenever he does the battle with the Razor Crest, he does the spin maneuver, just like Anakin.
Of course. Yeah.
Of course, it works.
He tried spinning, and it was a good trick.
It was a good trick. Great action. I think we had that one. It's amazing, like how one little nugget like that can sustain us even for 20 minutes of talking.
It's true.
And even though it's like
true.
To me, like not a weak episode plot wise, a great episode action wise.
Yes, but here's the thing.
Yeah,
we need to get on because we're spending 20 minutes on the worst of the 3 episodes.
You're right. Let's get to the Mac Daddy.
Let's get to the big old entree.
Episode 13, my favorite number. Episode 13, The Jedi.
Yes.
So
fuck me.
Ahsoka Tano, Dave Filoni,
first shot,
live action.
The first shot is lightsabers.
It's so good.
It's so, and I think I knew it was going to be one of two ways. They're either going to just boom right in the beginning. Here's Ahsoka being a badass Jedi, or it was going to be some big build up,
and she's at the very last episode. Yeah,
or
very
just
last
like
moment.
She shows up at the 2/3 mark of the episode and wins the day for them.
Yes,
but man, when at first I saw her, and for one, the action was creepy good. Like her disappearing and like just backing away into the mist and turning off her lightsabers was so badass. In like the fuck, you done fucked up. You done fucked up, son. You shouldn't have done that.
Right.
And now Ahsoka Tano's here and you're gonna die. It was just that. Oh fuck yes.
It was great. I mean, just
she looked great.
She looked great.
I thought she looked honestly, like I know some people were like, oh her tentacle things are they're not called that, but her hair
starts with
the
M. I can't think of the name. Joel let us know what it starts. I think it's with an M. Her malls or her mowls, or that's not right.
Nope, it's not that.
Her twi'lets. It's not
her licky twags.
Yeah.
Twaglets.
But no, it's
they're shorter, but
they're shorter compared to
what
it
looked fine. I think it's you're taking it from one medium to another. You're gonna have to make changes.
Yeah, I mean,
just for practicality reasons.
Yeah, but I think personally they could have done it with the long ones. I'm not super upset about it, but I am kind of like I kind of wish they were longer.
Maybe Twi'leks can trim them. Maybe they have the option.
They can't.
Do we know that?
We do know that. Well, it's not like hair.
Have the legends? I mean, maybe we know that because of the legends. I mean, it could get
who knows? I guess so. I guess they can just. I don't know. Anyway, so of course Ahsoka Tano is in town. And she is going after the magistrate, and she's looking for someone, or she's looking for information.
And we actually know where she's from now.
The magistrate.
Yes. Have you? Yes. So she's and it surprised me. I'll be honest. She's from Dathomir.
Really?
Yes.
Really, it's interesting.
Yes, because I'm like,
is she one of the witches from Dathomir?
No. She's apparently. So it seems that. I guess, I mean, I don't think we see this in the Clone Wars. It must have been like pre what we see in the Clone Wars, that Dathomir had like modernized like
Right.
part of the planet just had like cities or,
Oh,
or
okay.
villages or something, and then other parts had like the Night Sisters, and then the Brotherhood,
The Night Sisters, yeah. That's what I was talking about.
and of course you get some great episodes in the Clone Wars, but the other big place we get that is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order,
Which I finally beat.
Yes, great game, great Star Wars, good stuff. But you spend probably a good 10 hours on Dathomir.
How long did it take you to beat the game?
It's like you're right. It was like a 20 hour game.
You probably
So
spent
probably
like 3
or 4.
hours. Yeah.
I don't know. That was the last planet I went to because it just felt like last planet material.
Oh, really? So I went. Really?
Yeah, that was the last one I did.
Maybe it was.
Well, it was the last. Like when one eventually you don't have a choice. You have to go here. But like when you can pick your order at first, you have to go find the little things on.
Oh
different
yeah.
planets.
Then it was the last one I did too.
Yeah.
Besides Anyway.
Well,
That's cool. She's from there, and then of course
Yeah.
she had Michael Bean. Which our buddy
I did not
Matt.
even
I talked to him,
recognize.
and he's like, "That was Michael Bean." I was like, "Yeah, it was Michael Bean."
I
He
didn't
looks
recognize
much older
him
now,
at
of
all.
course. He was her
a
right.
great hardened, like
Cool little cameo.
soulless mercenary, like expat,
Yeah.
kind of lost his soul.
I love bringing in these like Carl Weathers, Michael Bean, these '80s action icons, and give them these little beat roles.
They just
bring
feel
in Arnold. Give Arnold
Yeah, I could see it.
an alien or something. Bring
Stallone.
I was fixing to say Stallone next. Bring in Stallone. Granted, their presence almost could overshadow.
Well, and you almost don't want to because of like Guardians.
I know, but you could do it in a way where they're like aliens and they're like have a cool. I mean, Arnold would want to be in Star Wars, right? I mean, I don't know why. He would.
Probably.
But anyway, I think great episode. We got some good stuff. Mando is coming to find this Jedi, and of course,
Plays it cool. He walks in. They're like, "Hey, you're a killer. Will you go hunt down this Jedi?" And he's like, "Totally, wink, wink. Totally will. I'll
Yeah.
be right back." Yeah. And of course, which I was glad. I was like, "Is this gonna be stupid?" Where he's like, actually hunt, like, "Oh, we have this foe. Go kill it." And it's like, "Oh, didn't know it was her." Or something. I was like, I didn't want that to be a stupid rabbit hole thing.
They did it in a way that it's almost self-reflective. We've had so many, you're on this place now, go do this mission.
Got to the point.
Well, that, and it's almost like making fun of itself. Like,
Maybe so,
in a way, like Filoni's like, maybe Filoni knows, like, maybe we shouldn't be doing like this, but he's also playing ball too, like everybody else.
Because it's one of those things where this is another straight up Shogun Western lonely guy walks into a town. And I mean, like, they literally had shots that were like like someone peeking out the shutters and then slamming it shut. I was like, that was a shot in from a Japanese.
Well, I mean, Ahsoka walking
walking
down like the big wide shot. I mean, there's a great meme with like George Lucas on DiCaprio's head going like, right, like looking like Kurosawa,
exactly. No, it was just like,
and Dave Filoni was like just sitting there probably like after every take he was looking at George.
I was
because
also
George
a little
is
bit
on
like
the set.
I was like, was it a little on the nose to have the guy that's peeking out the shutters Asian?
I didn't even catch that.
Like the one guy that Mando interacts with and then runs off, and he's like the one guy that used to like represent the scared villagers most of the time.
You're right. There was, yeah.
And I
don't know. I didn't think much of it.
I mean, it's probably, I just thought of it now. But
yeah, I mean, obviously it's a nod, even more so of a nod. I'm not sure if it's a racist nod.
It's a weird nod. You're like, okay.
I don't know. Maybe
Is it?
maybe
Maybe they just totally were oblivious.
we might be thinking too much into it. It might even be more weird to not do that. Maybe it's like if you just have a whole bunch of white people or aliens or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like you're taking
Usually
away
you
the
go
nod.
alien to be safe. I feel like that's usually the
It probably
go-to. Like,
is.
let's put a green alien. No one can get mad about that.
Well, so let's get to real quick. She looked great. She moved great. Two lightsabers was amazing.
I really believe
choreography.
Rosario Dawson was Ahsoka.
She did
when she
good.
talked.
Yeah, I
when
did
she was.
too.
I mean, mostly we get to this once Mando finds her.
Right.
But I felt like she felt like a believable. Like I could totally see. And I've been watching even recently some more Clone Wars, just to have something to watch and also just to refresh myself. And it feels like a totally believable version that Ahsoka would grow into.
I've been watching Rebels. I started it over again. Yeah.
Okay. Are
Just
you
so
liking it?
Yeah, I'm like almost halfway through the first season.
Okay.
I am liking it.
I need to rewatch that one.
Yeah.
I know it's on Disney+.
I want to because of what happened this episode. I was like, I got to start watching Rebels again.
Yes.
But of course, Mando finds Ahsoka Tano. She
They
obviously
do a nice lightsaber fight. Though, I'm wondering if it was always in lore that Beskar could like block lightsaber.
Was Beskar even in the Legends? The name Beskar, was it? I don't know.
Yeah. No.
I thought this was something they'd come up with like in the mythology for Mandalorian, like Beskar armor. I don't know. That's why I was asking.
No. I don't think so.
But anyway, so she's like, of course, whenever we meet Mandalorian, obviously I hope you're here to talk about that guy, speaking about Baby Yoda. And then here we get some great, huge stuff. So she says, hey, I can talk to him and, kind of do some Zen force telepathy here. And we find out that we mentioned earlier, his name is Grogu.
Sorry, I just want to say Beskar Steel dates back to 1994.
Cool.
Tales of the Jedi.
There you go. So it is, of course, been there for a while.
I mean, the kind of cliche, I guess, colloquial term is like a lightsaber can cut through anything.
It feels impervious to a lot of shit.
It does. I'm wondering, maybe, of course, maybe if he just had to sit on it a while.
That's what I wonder.
Hold it for 10 minutes, it eventually will.
Yeah, I would. That's what I would assume.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just like an invincible to it.
I would think not. No.
So learn he's Grogu. We learned that he was at the Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
Some 50 years ago during the Purge. And we learned that there's
how many would that be? 50 years at that point?
He's 50 years. So yeah, no, it wouldn't be. No, he was born 50 years ago, but he would have been probably 20 during the Purge.
Right.
20 something.
So which also gives us a better idea as far as timeline of how fast Grogu's age, Yoda's age.
We still don't know if there's a growth spurt coming or not.
Yeah, but he's 50 years old and he's still basically an infant.
Yeah. But then also Yoda claims that he was training people when he was 100 years old and he is 900 years old in Return of the Jedi. So I'm saying there's, I think there's a 50 years there. It seems like Baby Yoda actually seems pretty intelligent almost. Based on this episode that he learns more than
he
lets
has the
on.
ability to talk, which seems odd.
Yeah. But he also, I don't know, it's interesting.
Maybe he's just pretending.
Who knows?
I was halfway, when Mando first says, Grogu, and he turns, he goes, Matt, which is fun as fuck. It was cute as fuck.
Yeah.
He's like, Grup.
Yeah.
It was just so cute.
Yeah.
And then at the beginning of the most recent episode, it starts out with Mando in the cockpit just going, Grogu. And
Yeah.
just doing it, making himself chuckle, which I thought was such a fun moment.
No, it is. Yeah.
But I have expected him just to be like, what's up? There's have a voice now, be just start talking. Ahsoka unlocked it, and now he just can talk.
That would have been wild. That would be a big moment if that ever happens.
They would have words. Yeah, that would be a big moment.
They've kind of made him like a human baby now. It's everything he's going to learn, we feel like it's going to be in a process like a baby learns. So we feel like
it does.
He's going to speak how we speak. Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? Jedi Academy, part of the Purge. Grogu
was hidden away right after it, right?
Was hidden away, and then, there's some dark times apparently.
Well, he can't remember. There's a dark patch in his memory where he can't really remember the details.
And is that because he blocked it out mentally?
It almost felt to me like it was a trauma reaction. Was kind of how they were describing it, something or maybe it was that the Purge was so traumatic. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he could talk before. Maybe he went through a traumatic thing and reverted him to kind of his child brain in some way. I don't know.
I kind of wouldn't like that.
It seemed to be that I would assume the trauma of whatever happened was so big that it fucked with his memory.
Wow.
Or he was, I don't know. But then she also says he was limiting. She was trying to conceal himself too.
Yeah, he was kind of cut himself off that way people would know he's force sensitive.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's fucking taking care of him? Why? Where? How did he end up in that place on episode 1 of The Mandalorian, season 1? You know what I mean?
No idea.
And these random ass.
It was
people.
Yaddle, dude. Yaddle's taking care of him.
Yeah, I love all the Yaddle Yoda fuck memes that I've been seeing.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That and the gremlin. The gremlin.
Oh yeah, yeah. But also just this Grogu there was that one where that shows. Fuck. Anakin coming in and he's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he's gonna text from. He goes, "Hey Grogu, I've always liked you. Don't come to Jedi.
Don't come to Jedi
Temple tomorrow."
Oh my god, it's so bad but funny.
It's really good stuff.
It is.
But of course, That's some great information for us. It puts us context of where he was, who he was around.
I mean, we've been asking literally these questions since episode 1.
who's his master? Who was teaching him? Who was Mace Windu's apprentice? Did he have an apprentice?
Yes.
He did. Look it up for me.
Yes.
So obviously, Ahsoka Tano is also like, he's like, hey, will you train him? And she's like, I can't do it. I've seen what happens when someone who's dabbled with the dark side, because he has some dark side tendencies, like as we've seen in previous episodes. And he's seen some dark stuff, and of course that's going to scare Ahsoka Tano because she dealt with Anakin, her own master.
Yeah, she has that great line of like, I've seen what can happen.
Yeah, exactly.
To someone that has these kinds of attachments and fears, even to the best of us. And that what that does is that I think it's a really important moment, because what it does is it acknowledges all of that character development in Clone Wars as like we're basing our live action off of that now.
Yeah,
which is a big, like 10 years ago, or even when like Clone Wars is on TV and then gets fucking canceled, like no one would ever, like everyone was like, oh great, like I remember their like conversations would be like, wow, like they're so mad that the cartoons are better than the live action, that they don't want to, like, you know, in spite, they're not trying to support it or whatever. But it's just a big deal.
Different driver in the driver's seat now, it seems like. So
yeah, right,
in a great way.
Which also, fun little tidbit, we also learned that George was on set.
He was on set for
Ahsoka's first. In fact, that famed photo that Jon Favreau posted of George holding Baby Yoda, she's like literally like off to the right or something.
Yeah, which is great.
Ahsoka Tano. And it's like, oh, that's so, that happened like, that feels like months ago.
Yeah, and you know George, he probably loves Ahsoka. I mean, that was, of course, his hands were heavily deep into Clone Wars when that was going on.
Oh, yes.
And so that's like the biggest thing that come out of Clone Wars on a character wise was Ahsoka. And this is one of those things that's so interesting that George is still around.
Yes.
Of course, Filoni is like now the shepherd, him and Favreau, even though I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong if you feel this way.
Sure.
Favreau, of course, is probably the main showrunner, but it feels like Filoni is really the brain behind everything now based on how these revelations are panning out.
Yeah, it almost feels like Filoni's the brains and Favreau's the one that puts it to paper and like, or like designs, like this is how it's going to look. And Filoni's like, this is what it's going to do. I don't know. Like, I feel like it feels to be like Favreau is obviously a big part of it, but it doesn't feel like he's necessarily like the one coming up with the big picture ideas about the story.
Yeah, well, he gets a lot of writing credits.
But I could totally see it. Be like, here's what we want to do with this season, and then Favreau writes a lot of it.
And then Filoni is also like, hey, it'd be great if you did this, said this here, and did this there.
Right. So, sorry to revert back to our just previous discussion. Mace Windu's apprentice. Yeah. So her name was Depa Billaba.
Okay.
Kind of an unknown character. She was on the council. But she did get brought into relevance because her apprentice was named, where did I say it? Caleb Doom.
Oh, yeah.
Who went into hiding after the Purge and later took on the name Kanan Jarrus, who was Ezra Miller's master. So
there's a connection.
He was
there.
like the great-grandchild apprentice of Mace Windu.
Gotcha.
His master was Mace Windu's apprentice.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. I didn't know that. It's interesting.
Yeah. No, it is.
I brought that up because like there is some theories going around that Mace Windu could appear.
I know that he survived,
and also Boba Fett would of course want revenge on Mace Windu because he killed his dad.
Probably. I don't know that, and we're not to that episode yet, so I'll save that comment. But back to Windu. Fuck me, yes. Like I was so sad, and I'm pretty. Does he not get stabbed and then kicked out the window? It's not just like getting thrown out the window.
He just gets his hands cut off. He goes and then he gets kicked off. That's it. No,
he'll have no hands.
He don't get kicked off. He gets his hands cut off
and then electrocuted off.
Picks him up and throws him off. Yeah,
yeah. So I totally believe. Like it's so easy to find a way to prove I feel like it would be easy to believe he survived that somehow.
But also, there's also speculation that he could be in the Obi-Wan TV show because of the timeline. Sure. Because we also think that possible that Darth Vader and Anakin could be in that too. And of course, it's Darth Vader, Mace Windu at it again, kind of thing.
Sure. No, yeah. I mean, that would be great. I think Mace Windu is always one of my favorite Jedi.
And also, he would come back too.
And this is it made me think of this. Watching the Clone Wars. Man, some of those war episodes. In fact, there's one I think the retaking of Geonosis. It feels like fucking like Saving Private Ryan Star Wars. Like the amount of just like people dying at like they did this whole plane attack and it goes horrible and everyone's getting killed and like just fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's cool in the best way. But Mace Windu is part of a lot of those episodes. And his power, I remember reading the book. He had a book, I think it was called Shatterpoint, I think.
I think you're right.
That came out shortly after episode 1 about how his whole force power uniqueness was that he could detect the weakness in anything. And in that episode, I loved it that like one of the clone ships goes down and he just puts his hand on the window and it cracks everywhere from that one point he places it and just shatters.
Oh, wow.
It was like, God damn you guys, I love you. Y'all like that one little moment. He could have just used his lightsaber to cut the window out, but you paid homage to his personal super like kind of Jedi power.
Yeah.
God, it just made me smile so big
That's
that they
cool.
would do that.
It is Shatterpoint, by the way. You're right.
Yeah, it's a great book. I remember loving it.
No, but anyway, I don't know where that. I kind of forgot what we're talking about, other than
Potential Mace Windu.
Bring it back, Mace Windu.
Yeah.
She says that she can't train him. Right back to the actual episode, and that you. He's like, well, hey, she's like, if you take out the magistrate with me, then we'll have a deal, right? And she was like, yeah, we'll have a deal. And so they go take out the magistrate. Of course, we have him, Michael Biehn versus Mando, which is a great, like, the most truest Western thing we've had
parallel,
so far.
right? It's the Western duel and the Shogun duel.
Yeah, which is awesome.
And it was just, and I loved Mando just standing there, making absolutely no movement while he's like talking to him.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're just like, he's just gonna fucking kill him. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
it's great. And it was just like Mando was just, it was just business. He's like, I do this for fun.
Yeah,
I never had a worry.
Yeah, I know. It's so good.
I will say the Shogun choreography didn't blow me away.
I mean, she doesn't move as quick as she does in the show, Ahsoka Tano.
It was more the magistrate. I was like, why does she have a chance here? She does not seem like a trained melee fighter.
Oh yeah. Comparatively,
I kind of wish
win.
Ahsoka had just like toyed with her.
It's more of just seeing like, hey, it's Ahsoka in action.
And I get wanting the drama, but I wish Ahsoka had just toyed with, like been like the magistrate gets the pole at Ahsoka and she goes, well done, you made me use 10% of my power. Something like that, basically. I wanted that.
I want that exact line is what I wanted. She only makes her blades come out like this much, like they're like basically screwdrivers.
Or she just teleports behind her.
There you go.
Nothing personal, kid.
Nothing personal, kid. No, that's what I would prefer, honestly.
I wanted the equivalent of
but it was really cool, of course. And the big thing there in the fight, she was like, tell me what I want to know. Tell me where Grand Admiral Thrawn is.
Yeah. Which is paying homage to the Rebels finale that I have not seen and don't really know about.
Well, I've never seen all of Rebels. I haven't seen all of Clone Wars. And I was like, I literally went, what? In my
did
chair.
too. Well, my association with Thrawn is from Legends because he was a huge character in the post Death Star Empire.
Well,
he was like one of the main leaders of what was called in the Legends called the Remnant. They never had they were always the Remnant post Endor.
Yes.
Death Star. And so he was, and they make several surges. They tried to take back the Empire several times.
Yeah.
But Thrawn was a big part.
Yeah. Well, he was originally like a Grand Admiral for the Empire. And after Palpatine left,
well, and I think he even had some involvement in between Empire Strikes Back and Jedi.
I'm sure he did.
I think there was some canonical things that he took place, like he was involved in.
But if you don't know about who he is, he's kind of like this super analytical strategist.
He's like a genius.
He's a genius level bad guy.
And he looks like a blue James Bond.
Yeah, with red eyes and like white admiral attire.
Yes, he looks perfectly menacing.
Yeah, and he's
great.
And it's what's cool is like people compare him like the best Star Wars villain, even better than Palpatine, because Palpatine's like this rubbing my hands, gonna be in the dark,
totally.
And
Thrawn's like this emotionless, like kind of cut and like it's almost like it's just like math to him.
Yeah,
like doing these horrific, like massacre level things.
Yeah,
it's just like I think because of that kind of dry, like technical look at things is why he's a good villain.
Quick history lesson. So the Timothy Zahn novels that come out after Return of the Jedi, it was kind of like the first real Star Wars stuff people had who were fans of Star Wars since the movies come out.
It was a big continuation.
Yeah, and it was kind of like almost like the true sequels. This is the things
like 86?
Late 80s, 88, 86. So this is the things that everyone who don't like the sequels, they always look back and say, hey, look at these sequels. These were the best versions of what we could have got post Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So after Disney went in and made those non-canonical, which upset these people who loved it, which understandably so.
Yeah.
Timothy Zahn went back during the Disney era and is now writing he already wrote a prequel trilogy that basically talks about his rise into the Empire. So now that his fall essentially was non-canonical, he come in and did the opposite and started talking about during the Clone Wars and all this other time periods of how he rose to power. So
and then and also I'm not sure when Timothy Zahn did that, but in 2014 Rebels.
That's what I was going to say. Rebels started, and it's 4 seasons long. I mean, it's spoilers for the show, but season 3 starts. He ends up being the bad guy after can't think of the Inquisitor, the Grand Inquisitor. So Grand Inquisitor is the bad guy for the first 2 seasons, and then Grand Admiral Thrawn's the bad guy for the last 2 seasons.
Right.
And spoiler alerts again. If you want to go watch it, don't watch this part of the episode. But basically, the end of the show ends with Ezra Miller. What's his name? Ezra. What's the Jedi's name?
I think that
it ain't Ezra Miller. That's freaking Flash. It's Ezra something. Is it Miller? It can't be Miller.
Bridger. It sounds too close.
It's Ezra Bridger.
Yeah, Bridger.
So basically, it picks up where Ahsoka and Sabine are going to look for Ezra and Thrawn, and Ezra and Thrawn are fighting, and then
and Sabine has the Darksaber.
I believe so
at that point. I think
that, or she's fixing to go get the Darksaber. I can't. Maybe she does have the Darksaber.
I think she had it.
But basically, they're going, and I think Ezra bests at Grand Admiral Thrawn and beats him. And then I think they're on Space Wells, which is a thing that's happened.
Yeah, and it's something about, like, it was kind of unclear if they survived either.
Well, they went to the outer rim, or they went somewhere distant, and so it's kind of like their story was open ended, and that takes place roughly exactly where we're at now. And so there's a time gap in Rebels of basically like the last 2 episodes is like we don't know how many years since the previous episodes,
right? And we don't know. Well, there was that thing that. Well, in fact, Mr. Little Fucker Dave Filoni came out in an interview and said, "Well, technically, it might be that the Rebels finale hasn't necessarily happened in this in the time,
which seems like that's
pre-Rebels finale." And of course, he did it in this interview. He's like, "I don't know, it might be that way," and you're like, "Dave, why are you saying that if it's not that? Like, you're the fucking writer of the show. You're the one who decides what the story is. And you're saying, I don't know, it might be. I just wouldn't get your hopes up either way." And you're like, why would you even say that if it obviously is that and you're not trying to temper expectations?
Yeah.
I
just think
it's
it
just
is.
a weird comment.
I think
like,
it is happening. And there's the other thing, too, is that they're not afraid to go in and reshoot things that happen in animation and live action.
I'll tell you what they're doubling down on. They're doubling down on Dave Filoni's storylines that he started in animation. And they're saying, holy shit, some of this stuff is better than the movies.
Yeah.
And why not use it?
Yeah, it is.
It
is better.
Because the truth is, yes, the Clone Wars is an amazing show. And I know we joke, it's like the whole joke is, oh, Clone Wars is a kid show. It was a kid show, can't be that good. And then you watch and you're like, God damn, this is amazing. But there is a healthy portion of the audience that will not watch it. Just based on the fact that it's animated.
Yeah, and I
would, if you're Disney saying, well, fuck, we've got this great content pre-written, pre-fucking storyboarded. I mean, here's the animations. Here's the story. Watch the episode for your storyboard. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
it's how you get people who were upset about the sequel trilogy back.
Right.
There's so many people on my timeline right now on Facebook are saying, like, Star Wars is back. Like, I love this.
Like,
and X, Y, and Z.
I could so see an Ahsoka Tano flashback where we visit and it's her and Anakin.
100%.
And it's a memory of some interaction on, and they take either maybe it's like what happens after, it's like literally the seconds after this episode ends.
Oh yeah.
You know, like in one of the Clone Wars episodes.
It's totally possible.
I could and I mean, Hayden Christensen does not age. He looks exactly the same.
He looks a little older, but yeah.
But it would be so easy to put given the kind of like
it'd be okay.
That mid hair, like not too long, kind of medium.
And you can de-age him a little bit if you have to, very easily.
Dude, all you need with him is a little makeup.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
He's got the baby face still.
Yeah, it's fine. And I think they're based on what we saw. This is almost like a backdoor pilot for Ahsoka. So
it seemed like it. Yeah.
Because it seems like, she's going for Grand Admiral Thrawn, We also have Bo-Katan
Right.
trying to get the Darksaber from Moff Gideon. We know that I'm not sure if Sabine has a Darksaber in the Rebels finale or not.
I haven't seen it, but I feel like that's what I hear people say.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure on that. I need to look into that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have Grand Admiral Thrawn brought up on the live action side. He's going to make an appearance, and he's going to be.
He's either going to be season 3 Mando's problem, or he's season 1 Ahsoka's problem. Season 1 Ahsoka TV show.
Well, here's another thing. This kind of almost just runs into episode 3. She says,
"Yeah, let's get into episode 3." So she tells
because
us
this is all important. Yeah, she said, "Hey, I can't do it, even though I told you I would, Mando."
Yeah.
So she's like, "Hey, go to Tython, put him on this rock, and then he will reach out or he won't reach out to a Jedi, and either they'll come or they won't come, and they'll train him or not train him."
And some quick history on Tython. We're running long, so I won't go into it too much. But Tython is actually the origin of the Jedi in the legends, and it seems to be what they're acknowledging it to be now too. But in the legends, it was the origin of what was actually called the Jedi, spelled Jed, like AII, which was the precursor to the Jedi. And there's really rich, wonderful history and books you can go read that's like straight up Game of Thrones and Star Wars, but in the best way. And it really explains why the Jedi Code is the Jedi Code. And so there's some really rich lore there that I encourage you to go read if you're interested. So check that out.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
so he sets him on he has to set him on the stone.
that's the whole thing there, right? And of course, there's this, we might or may not pass.
He says, Grogu may choose to reach out, or he may not choose, and he may reach out and no one's there to answer, or someone chooses not to answer. Like,
so
ambiguous.
ambiguous.
Who knows? This might work, or it may be totally waste of your time.
Yeah. Which from that right there, of course, you have everyone, of course, is like, well, who's going to reach out? Who are the logical explanations? And my mind, the most logical explanation in the Star Wars canon, it has to be Luke Skywalker. Because at this point in time in Return of the Jedi, 5 years after, he should be trying to rebuild the Jedi Academy. Because at this point, Kylo should be like a year or two old. Yeah. And he should be starting.
Things should be chill.
Yeah.
Blue skies and rainbows.
Yeah, it should be. He should be at least on adventures doing something.
Right.
So you would think if Grogu reaches out, the person that would be more attuned to that in the Force than anybody would be Luke Skywalker.
Right.
You would think.
Right.
I think that's what I would want to see. But I think Disney is either too scared right now to do it, or I think that they're also, it opens a can of worms up. If you bring Luke in, how do you not have Luke
remain in
because he's such a huge character?
Was it you that sent that article, or I may have seen it somewhere else?
Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, that Disney wants Sebastian Stan for young Luke, but they want
Mark Hamill's approval,
his blessing, basically. Yeah. Which I don't. Mark Hamill seems such a chill guy.
I think
don't
Mark
see him
is
ever having an issue with that.
I think he's already has given him his blessing. Yeah,
I mean, he may have even said something.
Yeah,
like
I think
when someone
did.
did like a fan mock-up.
Yeah,
kind of shit. And Sebastian Stan looks fucking like Luke. Like it's like, oh my god, like holy shit, this is great.
Yeah, he does.
And I like Sebastian Stan as an actor. I think he could totally deliver a good Luke.
He's in the Marvel family. He's already doing a Disney Plus show for him.
Yeah,
Falcon
he's already
and the Winter Soldier.
exactly. He's already in those rooms with those execs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, hey, just come over here and be Star Wars now.
How would you not want to do that? I don't. Maybe you would.
You could be Luke's fucking Sky. Like literally every kid's fucking dream.
Yeah,
and it's your now job.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the logical thing there. Of course, the other ones is
Ezra.
Yes, because to me seems the most.
And here's how they could possibly do both. And I almost see this.
Well, Ezra is like
might
Luke.
do this at first because it's kind of dipping your toe in. Ezra being the guy that really shows up to say, and really how they set this up with this last episode is obviously spoilery. Baby Yoda gets captured at the end of this episode.
Yeah, and
after he reaches out, he gets tired, falls over. Dark Trooper robot guys take him away.
Iron Man troopers,
yes, and which is a little boring. I was a little disappointed in that. But it's obviously set up for whoever did hear the call to show up. Probably not this next episode, probably the next episode, the final episode, to save and help save the day. Now, I told you, I think it's a few options. I think my biggest hope is Ezra Bridger because
it has to be.
I love new blood in Star Wars. Like, bring in more people. Like,
I agree.
Of course, yes, Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker sounds awesome, but I also love just having another Jedi in the live action canon.
No, I agree.
To be in many things or star in his own shit, whatever. No, so I think Ezra Bridger is what I think is it's what I hope and I think is most likely possible. I think Ahsoka Tano is very possible, like her being like, okay, fine, like kind of
See, that would be lame to
giving
me.
in to do it after all.
That'd be lame.
And
I would not like that.
Well, I wouldn't either.
It would fit, but honestly,
they
it
would
feel
try to
Mandalorian.
use it as a twist.
It would feel Mandalorian though. Honestly, if she
I
come
could
back.
expect it. I can
It's-
totally see it
it's-
happening.
It makes me a little irritated, but just like the episode where Bo-Katan and them, he's like, I'm
Yeah.
going to do my own thing. And they literally just follow him. And this whole
Yeah.
scene, it's like,
It felt unnecessary.
it's unnecessary.
Yeah. No, I agree because then it would be like, why the fuck did they go to? I mean, then it just becomes that she wouldn't train him and she sent them there as a plot device so that Baby Yoda could get captured.
Exactly.
And yeah,
and
it
that's,
feels
and that's
too-
bad storytelling.
No, I agree. So I think those are possible. I think it's possible that it's both of those. I think it's possible that Ezra or Ahsoka shows up and they help save the day and they get away or whatever. And like 2 seconds later, Luke
shows-
Skywalker pulls up like, what the fuck happened here? Oh, what's up? Like pulls like a fucking like, what's his name?
Right.
From, John Travolta.
Right,
In
yeah.
Pulp Fiction. Right. Exactly. Like, what?
What happened?
I swear someone called me from here.
That did cross my mind.
And here's
that would happen.
what I would make me go like would scramble my brain with awesomeness. Cal Kestis.
Well, that was the third
That
one.
would just make me like pass out from
that was the third one. That's really the only three that we could possibly think of.
And for those that don't know, Cal Kestis is the main character in Jedi Fallen Order, and his story starts at right after the Jedi Purge, like when
Right.
the Empire's just gotten into control and is really hunting down anyone that can find left with the Inquisitors. So it's kind of Rebels era when he first starts. Maybe slightly before Rebels. I'm not quite sure. But so he should be like, I mean, he might be like 40 or like late mid 30s.
But that guy,
But they
that's the
literally
age.
mocapped an actor. I mean, it is him acting the role, both in motion and in voice and everything. So he's
something McGon. Go ahead. I'll find it.
no, yeah. I had the name anyway.
He's Joker.
He's the Joker in Gotham.
And he's also
which
in Shameless.
Sucked. Sucked.
Yes,
balls.
it did. Yes, it did.
Major balls. Okay. Just make sure you know that, Warner Brothers. Yeah, so that one would just flatten me. Like just, oh my God.
It would-
Fucking Cal fucking
Did you
Kestis.
say it would flatten
Cameron
Monaghan.
Monaghan.
Yeah,
McGonagall.
Monaghan. Yeah, whatever.
McGonagall.
I knew it was something with an M. Anyway.
Yes,
yeah.
that
no,
would-
I think that's the three logical
So if
things.
it's Cal or Ezra, I'm a happy camper.
But the only thing is,
Real
Cal, I don't know. I don't really think it's going to be that one because they still have, they're going to make a Jedi Fallen Order 2.
Yes,
And I
that's the
feel
only-
like that game base is not.
Yes, I agree. It would be bad. Honestly, it would probably be bad for the game unless the Jedi Fallen Order 2 took place after this.
I don't think it'd be bad for the game. I just think that it doesn't have an.
I think it would deflate the excitement a little bit.
No,
well,
because
we already kind of know that Cal's not going to die.
I mean, right? Hell, but right now I think he is going to die because he's not in anything in the future. You know what I'm saying?
This
it's
is
just
the point where they could easily write him into it.
But I don't know. What's my point? I'm saying like if he comes back, the good thing is it's like, well, actually, I kind of do want to play the games even more because I know he's going to survive. Right now, I'm under the impression that he's not in the original trilogy and that every fucking Jedi who appears before the original trilogy dies because of the Empire.
Ahsoka doesn't, obviously.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'd be more excited because right now I'm under the impression that he's going to die.
He's and yes, but here's Disney can do whatever the fuck they want with any character they want.
They can.
And they're going to look at Cal Kestis as a fan favorite from a very successful Star Wars game that surprised almost everyone in the gaming industry and just gamers being that good.
I think it's
good at all.
I think it's a great idea. I just don't think the game is strong enough yet for them to.
I think
to do it over Ezra is my point. To do it over Ezra, I think Filoni is bringing Ezra in no matter what, whether it's in Mandalorian or Ahsoka.
Yeah, well, especially because Ezra was one of his babies,
exactly,
and Cal isn't. Cal is Respawn's
exactly.
But
I think it's 100% possible.
I still think it's and I do think Respawn would not want it to happen. I think it would be one of those things where like, no, we made this character, we want to like take him this direction, and Disney like, no, we want him now. You made it too good of a character. We're now taking it from him.
He's just a good old Jedi boy.
He's a fun.
I like him.
He's a good protagonist.
He is.
And the crew, and really the end of Jedi Fallen Order, spoilers, is them going off to try and like find young Force users to protect them, kind of, or potentially build a new Jedi Order.
That's literally what they're doing. So it's what makes you think. But then you also wonder again, where's Cal Kestis during the Empire? That's always my problem. Where's Ahsoka during?
And here's the thing:
Rise
they
of
could always
Skywalker?
do an older Cal Kestis and recast, like use someone, an older actor.
You could.
to like make him old and bearded and grizzled and.
And I guess the fourth option could be just some random new Jedi that we get that we get a new character.
I think that would just feel like there's so much potential to honor other existing rich lore with this decision, and it would just kind of feel like, unless that, you know, of course, if it becomes like the best Star Wars character of all time, it's, you know, of course it was a genius decision.
Here's another thing,
but it's just like you're banking on people connecting with a brand new character.
If it is
last second,
if it is Ezra, no, I agree. If it is Ezra, then if this takes place before the Rebels finale, then it's like it doesn't seem like it works so much.
I don't,
based on the comments.
Right, you're right. I didn't.
So you know what I'm saying.
I
so
didn't think about that.
That's the only thing I think about.
So that either means Dave Filoni is intentionally just fucking smoke screening us with that comment. Like,
I don't know.
I'm just gonna fucking lead people down the wrong path on purpose.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know. I really need to watch Rebels so I can kind of have more context of what happens in the last episode. So I can.
And I know
see
there's time jumps in Rebels.
There
at
is.
the very least.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind they are, but I know time is, and jumping through time, affecting time is a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some interesting things happening.
You bringing that up, and I'm like, fuck, it probably isn't Ezra.
Yeah, if you look at the timeline, you would think that Ezra's out somewhere. But then also, what is Ezra doing? Why is he... But then you also got to ask yourself, why is Ahsoka taking... If you assume that even Ezra does his thing in Thrawn in the finale of Rebels, let's say Empire,
right?
Then like, why is it taking Ahsoka 6 years to find Ezra? You know what I'm saying? That's why that question was brought up to Filoni.
Sure.
How long of a time gap? How long has she been fucking looking? He's like, well,
Right.
maybe she hasn't started looking yet in Mandalorian.
Right. Yeah.
So that would kind of fix that problem. But then it's like, Ezra could be out there then. Ezra could make the call because he's not missing yet. But then he's got to go missing at some. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets kind of complicated.
It gets
and then you also got to explain it to people who
Yeah.
don't watch Rebels, and I'm
Right.
confused about it. And I am a
which
Star Wars
makes me
guy,
think it's going to be Ahsoka.
which I'm not.
I'm not a fan of,
I'm not
but
either.
I do think it's possible to make it just a fucking epic fight and all this shit to make it feel fun still. I don't think you can, because we're still getting more Ahsoka Tano on screen. And
No.
if you make her bad fucking ass,
Yeah.
and we're like, by the end of this, we're like, oh my God, it like literally launches the new Ahsoka Tano show, and everyone's just like face melting hype.
We're
You know?
already there.
But if it confirms it legitimately, like, yes, next fall, Ahsoka Tano and Mandalorian season 3 will premiere. Ahsoka Tano season 1.
But if she comes, I guess she could say he chose not to choose me.
I mean, I don't know. They could go
there's
any direction.
there's no, unless Mando dies this season. There's no, and they end the show
They
this
won't do
season.
that. They won't do that.
I don't think they'll do that.
won't
So I'm
do that.
saying, and there's no way that there's a way, but there's no way that Baby Yoda and Mando are separated unless Mando dies.
No, I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
But
So
I could either see her teaming up with them for next season, or just her have. Maybe they do. Maybe she does show up to save the day, but they don't end up getting paid. You know, I don't know.
I mean, you think
I don't
about
know.
it.
I'm starting to get a little confused with all the potential theories too. I'm just like,
I know there's a lot. There's a lot.
but hey, I was so glad that's where we are with Mandalorian right
Me
now,
too.
because last season we'd be like, well, yep, that's that episode. Well,
I mean, last
doesn't
season
really play into anything else.
we were also still pretty jazzed last year.
The hype was real, and it was a great moment to be a part of in the zeitgeist and everything. But to be able to get done with episodes and have like a billion potential like theories in my head, like, oh, but it could be this, it could be that, it could be this, it could be that. That's fun.
In comparison, right now, last year we were in Iron Man 1, Thor,
Yes.
and Captain America areas.
This
and
is
like
like
this
Avengers.
is great. We've got these cool toys, and now we're past.
We're getting like Avengers 1.
Now we're like in Avengers 1. We're like, oh wait, what could
They're
happen?
all teaming up.
They're all teaming up, which
Yeah.
brings into, of course, Boba Fett made his grand appearance
we
back
need
in
to talk
Star
about
Wars.
him. And oh boy, I didn't know I would like him so much.
They
I
really made him.
Loved him.
He did more in this episode than he's done ever.
More screen time and lines of dialogue than he is that actor, both Django or Boba Fett,
I know.
have ever had.
And
ever combined.
screen time, everything combined. Yeah, and it was cool. I mean, obviously he looked a little chunkier, being older Boba Fett, but he had
I
like
think it worked.
he had his scarf
But
kind
he
of
looked,
thing.
He looked like a unit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like a fucking unit. Like
Yeah.
he looked like it was all muscle.
Yeah,
Even if
and of
he's-
course we got some big revelations with him too. That he is a Mandalorian. Django, it's a
Or
foundling.
so they're not by blood Mandalorians, but they are traditionally.
And then he's like, that's all I needed to hear. Here's your...
Well, he showed him
I
the
know.
chain code.
I know.
Yeah.
So Django's was a foundling, which means, I guess, by proxy, then he's a Mandalorian. But why is he okay with you taking off your helmet then?
Well, I mean, he also says that he acknowledged that his father fought in the Mandalorian Civil Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, well, we already know that the only people that were crazy about that with the helmet were the Watchmen.
Sure.
So maybe,
Yeah.
or the Watch. So maybe Django's was more.
No, I'm saying that
chill.
Django wouldn't be, but why would Mando be even like wanting to give him the armor? Well, I guess he took the armor, but I'm saying, like, he almost gave him, I guess he didn't give him the Beskar staff. He let him walk away with the armor, though.
Yeah,
and you're like,
but he proved it. That he was like, my father was a foundling, and I'm his son, and it was.
I guess,
down
but
to
I
me.
guess it just shows you again that Mando is his cracks of like how much he cares about people taking off their mask is smart.
Well, I think this season we're kind of seeing the degradation of that code, and a little bit seeing that, like, okay, some of this is a little silly. Like, what does never taking off your helmet do for you? I mean, I guess you're never susceptible to a headshot, but
it does. It's obviously more of a.
It's a tradition that
you're
doesn't
following
have any
tradition and
practical
you're
value.
following rules, which will therefore reinforce your character.
Yeah,
That's
really,
what that
and
means.
I mean, it's interesting. It's a little bit parallel to like the critical analysis that comes about in the movies of like the Jedi Code of like,
yeah,
we've already done it this way, and it is really cool. This kind of culture thing, right? But it has some flaws and some logical inconsistencies.
Well, it creates problems like anything.
And I do hopefully, and what it seems like at a macro level, they're kind of having Din go through that process of like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like just kind of questioning his own code and why do I do this and why is it a good thing?
As he should. I think character,
I think
whether
it's-
he takes it off or not,
it's
which again,
realistic.
I think he will.
It's realistic.
Characters need to question where they come from and what they're
Yes.
about and their person.
And I
their own
do
character.
think he will eventually take it off. I think he will
He will.
become like the other Mandalorians.
He has to.
And I think they're gonna. So far, it feels like they're gonna really earn that and take their time.
They really need
and
to
make it a moment. I do, but I'm thinking that could be really awesome. Like when we start seeing Pedro Pascal fight with the helmet off.
Mm-hmm.
Like that sounds like fucking
like
getting like a bunch of emotion out of this character that we're just really attached to.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you can see his eyes.
Yeah.
And that's just gonna be kind of really cool.
I mean, even the opening episode, you're seeing him play with Grogu, and he's like getting tickled about
That's
being a dad.
That's like more emotion
than we got in the whole first season
of the Mandalorian, but intentionally, like it's a
100%.
big, like from here versus episode 1 last season, it's a big change.
Yeah.
And I feel like they've earned it. Like it's been incremental.
Yeah.
It hasn't just been like, oh well, one day he's a cold ass bitch, and the next day he's a warm father. It's like it's been incremental. It's slowly happened, and it feels really earned. But yeah, back to Boba Fett. Sorry.
No, you're great. So, yeah, I mean, Boba Fett was really cool, and he got to do some ass whip. It was cool even before he got the armor, and he's going to show up in the armor in a second, and
it was so yeah, him using the
staff,
the Tusken Raider staff, and was like fucking up some stormtroopers. I thought it looked really good. I liked seeing the armor like shatter.
Yeah, I thought the fight scene was great. I've told you this, but I thought the area in which they were
the
shooting,
planet was a bit vanilla.
It felt like just almost Star Wars student film. Like, hey, there's a place.
I think I've seen some fan films that have a better location.
Yeah, that's the only thing that kind of bothered me. I was like, oh wow,
I would agree with that. Yeah,
the temple looked great. The effects when
and it was
the things
cool
shoot
that
up
like
looked
all the
great.
rocks were the same color and like, but it did feel like you just wanted like a really exotic element in there, just like
To make
maybe
it
like
Star
make the
Wars.
sky pink or like
Something.
something that just made it feel alien.
I feel like they were just
'Cause it
like
did not feel alien.
I know, yeah. There was something there that kind of bothered me.
Yeah, but but the action I really enjoyed. I mean the stormtroopers were idiots, but I guess that's their thing lore wise. But there was a little bit just like, oh, this is a little like when they landed like the second ship, I was like, okay, well, why didn't they just land 2 ships at the same time?
Of course.
It's here.
It's like,
why didn't they send the dark troopers out first?
We're going to
That
send you
didn't make any
ways.
sense.
I know.
It's like those things that happen for story, but just feel so story
Well,
driven.
then a couple things then, just to kind of keep digging down here.
Yeah.
Why didn't he grab his jetpack when he ran away? I thought that Travis mentioned that to us, and I was like,
Din did.
Yeah, and I was like, why don't you grab your jetpack? I guess you're in the heat of the moment. You can explain that away, of course, like adrenaline and whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And you're like, you don't think about it, but grabbing your jetpack would have helped you out a little bit.
Wait, when did he put it in jet? Oh, when he was dealing with
He's like, take it off.
Boba.
Another thing is, why did fucking Boba Fett wait 5 years?
Or why did it take him that long if he's this good?
Yeah. He could have whipped Cobb Vanth's
you literally
ass.
found Mandalorian in 2 weeks, and it took you 7 years to find a dusty old cowboy.
I know.
You could have killed him like in 2 seconds. Like,
and we know that like the location of the Sarlac Pit and the correlation with Jabba's palace and Tatooine. We know they're not super far away.
No, especially like by land speed or something. Like, and
I know.
especially, I mean, like even where they show him at that moment at the end of that episode in the beginning of this season, and it's like, okay, I guess he was like almost there.
Yeah.
When you guys left, and he's like, "Fuck, god damn it."
Yeah. Now
I mean,
the answer, of course, is plot.
yes,
But
plot.
that's just
it's just kind of silly.
It would have been
It's
better.
It's a little. It's just cheap,
Maybe if episode 2 had this big Boba Fett reveal,
right?
and then you kind of just put that there, but then maybe have something where Boba Fett's like,
Yes,
maybe Mando kills something that Boba cares about, and now
Right.
Mando is
Right.
now Boba Fett is going to capture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
right.
There's something there where you
Yeah.
do it chronologically in a better location, and you kind of still have the same beats but different. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I
No,
get it.
I
I
agree.
get it.
but
But there's something there.
I totally agree with you. I will say though that other than that, I loved his debut.
I mean, it's cool.
The way he talked, it felt, and I know it's the voice, it's the look, because he looks so different that at times he just looks like a new character, but at times he turns and you're like, oh fuck, that's Jango Fett.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like literally like flashbacking to episode 2.
Oh yeah.
And it feels, and then of course he says that line, and I just smiled ear to ear. I'm just a simple man making my way through the galaxy.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fuck yes.
Also,
I
in
loved
the
it.
way, I guess, even as fans, as old fans and fans like us, I always got the impression that Boba Fett was a bad guy. He's working for the Empire.
Well,
He's-
in the original trilogy, he straight up just is. They definitely give him a sympathetic origin in episode 2.
they do,
And
but then you kind of like in this, it feels like he's a hero almost again. Like, yeah, he's
but
fighting.
he has some episodes in the Clone Wars that are like very sympathetic, like young Boba Fett. And I didn't know this till I looked it up, I think yesterday, that there was season 7 of Clone Wars came to Disney Plus later, but originally there was a planned one episode of season 7 where young Boba Fett kills Cad Bane, who's a main player in the whole, like the main bounty hunter in the whole Clone Wars series, and gets his famous like dent on his helmet in that
cool.
battle.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I really wish we could have seen that. But apparently he does a lot of like I'm not remembering those episodes right now, but apparently he's like helping people in the Clone Wars a little bit, like being sympathetic slightly.
Wow. Do you think we're getting the Boba Fett TV show now?
It seems like it. I mean, he was great. Like he's either going to be in his own TV show or he's going to be a main character,
Just
a main like supporting
forward.
character.
It was interesting that
something
he
else.
brought that. I can't think of her name. It's
Yeah, who
girl
the fuck
from
was her?
Agents of Shield. She was the bounty hunter in the Tatooine episode. Remember,
That's
he
right.
walks
Yeah.
up with his
Okay.
spurs
That's right.
and he gets her.
That's right.
So
That's right.
and she's a cool actress, but I just don't
Yeah.
really love her in the role.
No, and it just I will agree with you that the last time compared to the last time we saw Boba Fett falling into a Sarlacc, he's definitely
Heroed up.
yeah,
And
like
badassed
the whole
up.
but heroed up very much, like the whole like, well, I promised you I would keep you safe.
He seems like his honor went like
and it
from
was just like,
-3
whoa,
to
okay,
+10.
Are you a Jedi now? Almost
Yeah.
like it feels like that's like a Jedi shit. I
He
would
didn't
expect.
feel very honorable in Empire Strikes
No.
Back, and
Yeah,
also
and so maybe they
Maybe the
will
show
give us some
explains that.
background to explain why he got so empathetic.
yeah, maybe
and I
the
would-
show
I
maybe
wouldn't-
5
I wouldn't hate
years
that.
humbles you, and maybe Starlight Pit humbles you a little bit,
And maybe that's all we need is a line like that.
yeah.
But it did feel a bit different, but it felt different in a way that's like I like that Boba Fett, like it's fun.
Well, here's
that
the
Boba
thing.
Fett's a good guy to root for.
What they gave us was the things that we've put on Boba Fett that never was on Boba Fett.
Yeah, he was so cool. You wanted him to be good.
Well, it was just like, man, Boba Fett's badass. He can do all these
Yes.
cool things. He never did that, but we just
Yeah.
did that we did that in our head canon.
Well, and I think he just looks so fucking cool and
Yeah.
different.
He
And,
never
like,
did anything cool like that in the original
just the
trilogy.
design of the helmet and the colors, like it's so unique.
Yeah, it is. It's cool.
And I do, man, when he put the armor back on, it was like, this looks, because at first I was like, he's a little pudgy. Like, is he going to look a little bit like trying to stuff the Pillsbury dough man into the helm? You know what I mean? Like, he was squashing out the sides. Or is he going to look like the Marshal?
Yeah.
When he put his on, but no,
real lanky. Yeah, we really
the way he kind of looked down his helmet. It's funny because in this like kind of like he's like had his head pointing down. It just looked like iconic.
It's funny because Cobb Vanth is like really skinny, tall version of Boba Fett, and the new Boba Fett is like kind of pudgy Michelin Man Boba Fett, and then the real Boba Fett's over in the middle.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I don't know. Of course, the episode ended with Baby Yoda being taken by the Dark Troopers, the Iron Man Troopers, and then Mando going to. We lost Razor Crest, the ship, of course.
Yeah, got blown up. All he saved was the Beskar spear
and the little thing, which of course is going to call back. Yeah, it'll
probably be how he wakes up Baby Yoda to help him spring from the trap.
Or how the last. Of course, I think season 1 ended that too. Like he gives him the little ball, he unscrews it and drops it in his hand.
Yeah,
it's this big thing between them, right?
Yeah, it's a good plot. It's a good little like physical representation of the relationship.
I would feel like Baby Yoda can like use that like Magneto does and like make it shoot through people.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be something like that. That's how it helps spring him from the jail.
It's kind of dark, but cool though.
I mean, there's some dark shit at the end of this episode with Baby Yoda.
Well, there is. Yeah, Baby Yoda's kind of.
But before that,
he is. Yeah,
we get a scene that just should have been fucking in next week because it's like that scene that starts off getting the gang together, but you just get one person and then you're done.
I know.
It was just so weird.
We go back to the same planet we were a couple episodes ago. We've been in a lot in season 1 actually. Cara Dune's there.
And she's obviously that end of that previous episode. She like walks up to that. It's that Republic pilot that is like
saved
that
Mando.
Pudgy Republic pilot,
and also capture Bill Burr that saved Mando.
Yes, exactly, and he's like
he's everywhere.
We could use some more of you.
I feel like he is the new Republic.
And he just
Starship.
did not sell the job at all. The next time we see her, she's like, "Yep, these stripes mean something." And she gave that line like, these stripes mean I have to follow the rules.
Well, she feels like that person who's like guarding the shack and she's throwing her feet up on the table and that she doesn't really want to be there. And you're like, are you sure you want this job?
But then she says that line, which feels totally like, oh, well, I have to follow the rules. And it's like, you don't.
Here's how you bring.
Seem like you do.
Here's how you do. Here's how you. I just covered this right now.
It felt shoehorned in.
I didn't get paid for this. But Mandalorian shows up on the planet. He's distraught. Someone almost gets a drop on him. She kills the guy, and he's like, "Who is it?" Oh, it's the new sheriff of the town, and it's her. And she's actually actively doing sheriff-like things, and it sets up like and that's how you do that. I just did it for you.
Here's how you do it for real. Well, and they didn't do it now. You have fucking Din go back and just get fucking drunk in a pub, dealing with his pain.
He wouldn't do
Takes
that.
his goddamn helmet off, and then she finds him, and he's like, I got the kid.
She's like, surely.
And then she helps him up and she's like, put this goddamn helmet back on. And they go.
That's too quick.
You're right, it is.
It's too quick.
But it just felt like, okay, we're going to go get the team to, start rounding up the team for the Ocean's 11 moment.
Oh, yeah.
I need one person, and honestly, one of the uselessest ones. I mean, I guess he goes to her because he's trying to get Bill Burr out of prison.
Which is also like, she's like, hey, look these people up. And she's like, she's looking through things before he even says the name. So it's like, what are you looking for, Cara Dune, for a second? That's what she's doing. And she's also hitting the same 2 keys. I'm like, man, technology in Star Wars is great.
It reads your brain and just knows what you want to do each time you hit the button.
It was reading Mando's before he said it. And anyway, that was a weird little.
It also just felt like, are you sure there's not any other good snipers? I mean, it's a goddamn big universe.
And also, you bested Bill Burr, and it's like you want the guy who you put in prison that you killed his friend.
And I'm trying to remember, was he that impressive in that episode?
He wasn't. Again, probably the best episode of season 1 in my opinion.
It was the best action,
and just tightness and everything.
Yes,
just great.
It's great.
And Bill Burr, they asked him if he'd come back. He said, "Man, I'd love to someday." And of course, he was lying because he has to be in the next episode, right?
Yeah.
But it was interesting because you have Cara Dune being the only like actual Republic person, but you have Boba Fett. You have I can't think of her name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robot
stomach.
Yeah.
Bounty hunter, Mando bounty hunter, Bill Burr bounty hunter, and then you might have Bo-Katan come back.
Probably. Yeah,
but Carl Weathers's not a bounty hunter. But that's what I'm saying. It feels like a bounty hunter's Avengers. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But also of the bounty hunters we don't really super care about besides Boba Fett and Mandalorian You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that's only
like I would totally be fine if Cara Dune and that other chick died.
would have been so
in
much
the
better
battle.
if he went right back to Ahsoka and said,
In
"Hey."
fact, them dying, I'd be like, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, good thing you did.
Would it make? And granted, he doesn't really know where she's at now, but it could have been like,
Yeah.
"Hey, remember that baby? You told me they come and captured him. She would have come and helped him."
Right.
Granted, he may not know where she's at, but which
Yeah,
also
I
kind of
agree.
it makes me think that she might be coming in the last episode, which I
Yeah.
don't want.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's some interesting things there.
Yes.
Some story
It
stuff.
just felt like a weird scene to have in this episode.
It
though.
was kind of weird.
Because I feel like that could have been literally the first scene of next episode. Like, and just then you're going to the place to bust him out.
And also, we know that Bo-Katan wants Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
See, but Mando's been avoiding Moff Gideon. Now he's got to go to Moff Gideon.
Right.
So Bo-Katan would have been the best,
Yeah.
the next best option.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go fight this guy.
Yeah. Okay. And sorry, that just reminded me. One more moment that just kind of made me scratch my head a little bit was
Yeah.
when Boba Fett's flying up to chase the robots, and he's like,
Oh, yes, the Empire.
they're back." And you're like,
I literally.
because one.
Well, I was sitting.
Have we
there-
not? Has no one seen this ship
Well, also,
since?
but I was sitting
the
there
beginning of the Mandalorian.
whenever that happened. Katie was sitting there and I go, "No fucking shit." That's what I said out loud.
Yeah, it's just like,
You're fighting stormtroopers.
yes, and I mean, Mando spent. He was
don't
hired
know.
by the Empire.
Yeah, I don't know.
To get Baby Yoda, and bring
Yeah.
him to the Empire.
Yeah, and fucking our boy.
And then he fought
Yeah.
the Empire to get he fucking shot down a TIE fighter.
I know. He's been
This
slaying.
does not seem like news.
He's been slaying stormtroopers for
like what
2
they should have
seasons
been
now.
was like Din should have been like, yeah, have you literally been living in a cave on Tatooine for 5 years? Of course. Like it should have been like, oh my god, the Empire's back.
I
Like,
guess
yes,
that-
Boba.
But I guess that kind of makes. I guess that's the only thing that kind of makes sense was that he doesn't know that the Empire's back, right? Bubba Fett.
Yeah, but then it doesn't. It seems like they treat that line like a big moment for everyone.
That's what I thought. But now I'm thinking it was just Bubba Fett being a dumbass, which makes him look stupid.
I
But
guess so. And it's also like it looks like a Republic cruiser. It does not look like a
It did-
starter cruiser.
it didn't look
It looks
like
a
that.
lot closer to the Republic cruisers.
yeah, you're right. You're right. I know. That's what
Which
I'm saying.
maybe actually is that the design of like the New Order?
I don't know.
It may be.
But here's another
I don't
thing.
remember.
I kind of think that maybe, of course, that line was ADR'd, of course, because of what was happening.
Yeah.
So you wonder if it was just like, hey, we need something here.
I also realized that like literally they could rewrite Din's script at any point of this episode. Like, let's rewrite his dialogue and get him to record
Yeah,
it.
they, even Bubba Fett, anybody under a helmet, they can rewrite
Yeah.
their dialogue, or an
Yeah.
alien, they
Right,
can rewrite their
right.
dialogue in any second.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. I of course I'm excited for the end game because it feels like we're kind of
Yeah.
getting some big action stuff happening.
I'm a
and-
little not excited for next week's episode because it feels like all it's going to do is set up the finale. It's going to be like getting the team together, making the plan, getting to go there, and then something will go drastically wrong in the first few minutes of the plan, and then that's the cliffhanger for
yeah,
next episode.
which is just like last season, where hey, we're gonna get the team
Yeah.
together, but they got
And
IG-88, they got
they
Kara,
were also rescuing.
Carl Weathers.
Were they rescuing Baby Yoda that time too?
They
Did he get captured at the end of season 1?
he didn't get
Did he
captured.
get captured again by
The stormtroopers had him outside the banks.
that? No, yeah, because they
They did
fucking
capture-
bitch slap him.
They did capture him.
It's
yeah.
fucking what's his name? That comedy.
Yeah. Not Ed Helms. Fuck. Not Ed Helms.
You
That's
know,
a different- yeah.
Saturday Night Live guy.
I can't think of his name
Yeah.
right now. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know.
So it's almost like, wait a minute.
They're doing some similar beats here.
Yeah.
Of course, it kind of has to almost if Moff Gideon's whole thing is capture Grogu.
You're right. I mean, that's literally the point of the antagonist.
Every season we're going to capture Grogu. But then also,
Right.
I kind of wonder, honestly, now that
I'm wondering if Moff Gideon could die at the end of the season.
I don't think so, based on Carlo, what his name is,
Carl Weathers.
No, the
Oh,
Moff
Giancarlo.
Gideon. Yeah, Giancarlo. Based on what he said, it seems like he's going to be in season 3. He's like, there's going to be much more Moff Gideon in season 3. It could be, like
throwing
a
smoke.
sure.
screen.
I just
Yeah.
don't think so though.
No, I don't either.
Feels like he was someone that was told he could
Yeah.
say that, and
Yeah.
he's going to say that.
Right.
I
I agree with that.
don't think so. But also, you wonder, okay, Baby Yoda has either called out to somebody or hasn't called. Either that, or he was doing a sweet meditation moment. You feel like after all that,
If nothing comes from that, it will feel really dumb.
like, oh, he
If
actually
nothing. Like
he
it's just
called.
no Jedi.
He didn't call anyone. He chose you. It's like, well, why was he sitting there
He was just
chilling? What was he doing?
getting force high. I don't know. You know?
Yeah, I know.
Like maybe
what
it
I'm-
just feels good.
That's what I'm saying. So obviously, Mando and Baby Yoda can't be separated,
Right.
For the show reason.
Right.
I do think that.
Unless they like replace Mando's mission with being about freeing Mandalore.
Well, that's my. We're over time here, but what do you think? Where do you think's going to happen in the season? And now that we've had these plot points, what do you think season 3 will be?
It's difficult because it's opened up a lot of boxes this last few episodes, like that are clear nods to future plot lines, and that seems totally independent. Like the Mandalore,
Admiral Thrawn, and then we have Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda could be completely independent or completely tied to one of those. Din Djarin's whole struggle with Mandalorian culture and who's he going to be could be tied to. It seems
tied to
destined
Mandalore.
To be tied to Mandalore.
100% more than Thrawn.
Yes, and Moff Gideon also seems to have to be tied to Mandalore because of the Darksaber.
And he could be working for Thrawn.
He could be.
Possibly.
I don't understand who was in charge of who, or
I don't either.
Or what? Even like, I mean, Moff Gideon kind of seems to be doing his own thing compared to anyone else.
I feel like he is too, but I don't know that.
I don't know. And only seems to maybe have one ship, it's like cruiser. So it doesn't seem that hard to deal with.
Also, kind of piggyback off what you're saying, Ahsoka's clearly dealing with Thrawn. You have Boba Fett series possibly in the works.
Right.
You have Mandalorian
and whatever they're going to do with Mandalore.
Yeah,
and
so
she's going to be heavily involved in that.
It seems like, to me, Thrawn seems the ultimate threat from what we understand. Mandalore is a big moment for Mandalorians, but Thrawn seems like the big bad for Star Wars. So I feel like that could be the Avengers level Defenders crossover event.
I want it to be bigger than Thrawn because the air's a little deflated out of that because we know the ultimate outcome.
I agree.
The ultimate outcome is that the First Order comes back and the sequels happen.
I agree.
And so it just feels like it will feel like a hollow victory if they do win a little bit, and it will feel like if they lose, it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, but also you have to ask yourself, where's Luke Skywalker at this point? They've created cans of worms for themselves.
Right. No, and it feels like they have to, for me to be satisfied, even just thinking a bit long term with wherever the show goes or what shows spawn out of this. I want it to feel like it's as important as what happened in the sequels, but also feel understandable that the sequels weren't about this. And that's a really, really like thin line.
It's hard
because you almost it almost has to be like this Illuminati level thing of like, oh, no one knew what was happening when these people saved the world. The world, they're thankless because the world has no idea it even happened.
That's kind of what I'm feeling like. That's their only option unless they start resetting things.
And if they go through the Ezra Miller Thrawn thing, there's a lot of fucking time. I mean, apparently Ezra saves Ahsoka from being killed at one point by like plucking her out of time.
Yeah, World Between Worlds, yes.
And so
World Between Worlds.
The potential to tap into that stuff. And what's interesting is that's really what George wanted to do with the sequels was the wills and the origins of the Force and the source of its power.
And we know Lucasfilm itself is doing the new, or the what's it called? The Old Republic or something like New High Republic. The High Republic.
But that's just for books.
It's for books and comics, and there even maybe today come out that we might get a cartoon.
Oh, really?
That come out today.
That's like thousands of years.
Supposed to be a couple hundred years before.
Was it 100?
Yeah, before Phantom Menace. So it's like Lucasfilm is doing that. It's interesting. It's kind of like what?
It's weird.
Obviously, people like Mandalorian.
Like that decision was just let's let our writers do something that people won't get offended about, and everyone hates the sequel timelines.
It does.
We're going to literally get thousands of years away from that.
I know it gets complicated. You're right. I personally almost would say, hey, they should recast Han, Luke, and Leia. Seriously.
We've been talking. I would not be opposed to a reset button being the ultimate end of the culmination of these shows, or one of these shows being like something happens with the fucking timeline. Like maybe, I don't know. I mean, you want it to almost be something as crazy as like the Force goes away. No one has access to it anymore. And it's about trying to find the Force again, or something that level of importance has changed about the galaxy when reality changed. It can't just be like, oh yeah, the Skywalkers didn't exist anymore. I mean, that feels too boring of a change. And like, okay, I get that was the chosen one, whatever, but one family not existing feels a little too ridiculous that everything would hinge on that so directly. I don't know.
I'm not too hung up on that, but to me, Han, Luke, and Leia coming back, basically just a rate. And I don't want to do it because I feel like it's almost disrespectful to all these people who worked on Mark Hamill.
Here's the reason they won't do it is because of Leia. It's because of Carrie Fisher.
You think so?
One of the only good things out of Rise of Skywalker was like a tribute to her, and it felt shoehorned as fuck. They didn't do it like they should have, but it was a sweet moment, and I just don't think. I think that would really piss some people off.
Well, also they'd be severing ties with people
maybe
like,
in 20 years
with the three people with Rey, with John
which that
Boyega,
seems
Days
to
of
be already
Really.
a done deal. I don't think they have any intention to bring those people back right now.
I don't either. It's an interesting
I mean,
conversation.
no one wants to hear about Rey fucking Skywalker.
No, yeah, I know. No one does. No one wants.
We don't care.
I don't think. I mean, granted, I could be. I'm sure people out there who love Rey. I'm sure there are. Has like females.
I mean,
that
if she
love
said
her.
I'm Rey Windu, cool, let's do it. And it was a purple lightsaber, I'm in. But
yeah, no one wants Rey Skywalker.
Goddamn Rey Skywalker.
Anyway, I just interesting things coming up overall.
All of the boxes are open. All of the questions are being asked, and that is what I appreciate about this season. Like it feels, it's not, but it almost feels Westworldy, where like every episode ended, and you're like, wait, what the fuck is going on here? And you had a million theories about what was actually happening, and I feel like that's a little bit how I feel with this, and that's exciting. I like that.
I do too. Daniel, how can our listeners write into us?
Guys, you can write into bit.ly/2for1mail. Go there like Joel did, or just Joel, do it again. That's fine. Let us know what we got wrong, because I'm sure we misspoke again this episode on some lore things. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to look things up more and not just base it on my memory, because that can be dangerous, apparently. But bit.ly/2for1mail. Let us know what you thought of these 3 episodes. Let us know where you think this is going. Let us know how you would fix Star Wars. bit.ly/
Just realized how long this episode was. It's an hour and a half. I turned the timer off at one point because I didn't want to know.
Mad, though. It was a good
I know.
discussion.
I could keep talking honestly about it. I could really keep going. But we have, I think, after the next 2 episodes, we'll definitely have a better idea of what's happening. Hopefully.
Yes, we will come back. There'll be one more big Mandalorian episode where we will review the final 2 episodes. We're going to bring Travis back on if we can make that work.
Yeah, and then maybe the whole season
have a
as a
big
whole.
discussion on the show as a whole, where we are, where we're going, all that fun shit.
Oh man, I have a feeling for some reason we'll be in the same spot we are now 2 weeks from now, like in terms of like questions and stuff. But of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, comment below, or hit us up at our Bitly. If you subscribe to the channel, of course, it helps people find us. We can keep making more content, and it just helps us out overall. We have all our social media platforms, all the iTunes, all the Apple Podcasts, which is also iTunes. And we're on Amazon, we're on Spotify, we're on all those places. So of course, if you want to watch it or listen to it versus watch it, you know where to do that. It's cool talking Star Wars with you.
It is. It's good to be back. I love talking Star Wars.
Star Wars is fun to talk about.
Star Wars and Marvel, man. I could do long podcasts about those.
By the time this ends, we'll start getting WandaVision.
Yeah, we'll actually have Marvel to talk about.
Yeah, and then we will be having DC stuff happening relatively soon.
Yeah, like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, which we haven't talked about at all on the podcast on all these things.
Yeah.
All these news things. We've been really behind on news.
It's all right. You get your news from some other place. We get it.
Yeah. Anyway, my name is Donovan Thompson.
My name is Daniel Wingfield.
And we have spoken.